Health Insurance, Valerie P. Daly, and the Group Health Insurance staff. Welcome to our very first disaster preparedness webinar. My name is Lady Shauna Martin, and I am the Wellness Program Coordinator for the Division of Personnel, Group Health Insurance, and your host for today's event. But before I go any further, it is with great pleasure that I present to you our very own Director for the Division of Personnel, Cindy Richardson, who will give some opening remarks. Director Richardson.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for that, Ms. Martin. Welcome to everyone. My name is Cindy Richardson, and I'm excited to be able to welcome you as Director Nominee of the Division of Personnel to this wonderful webinar event, a partnership between our own wellness team and the VI Territorial Emergency Management Agency, VITEMA, with participation from the Department of Health. As you know, we just passed the peak of hurricane season, along with the 4-year anniversary of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. I am sure that we are all reminded of the lasting impact that natural disasters can have on all of us. Having the information beforehand to ensure that we are prepared as possible is so important. And I offer gratitude to VITEMA, the VITEMA team, for making sure it is readily available to us throughout the year. And I'm also taking the time to participate in such events where this can offer a more comprehensive approach to disaster preparedness. Partnerships like this allow for information to be packaged in a completely new and accessible way. Today, you will be participating in a scavenger hunt to test whether you're disaster ready. And while this can be tons of fun, I hope that it also underscores the message of taking preparedness seriously, and I know that knowing what to have on hand. I have seen the checklist, and there are a few items that I realized that I needed to add to my own disaster emergency kit. It is also my pleasure for me to be able to welcome Dr. Nicole Syms, Assistant Commissioner of the Department of Health, who is going to help us look at how effectively to deal with trauma and the new COVID term of the week, pandemic fatigue. This September, not only are we dealing with the continued potential threat of natural disasters, but we are also battling a pandemic, which, let's face it, is stressful for us all. Being armed with the tips for battling and coping with stress, and even better understanding how it's caused, is a preparedness tool in and of itself, as it helps us to keep a calm head in dealing with overwhelming and our day-to-day life situations. I must also commend the foresight of our wellness team in offering this experience. As your human resources team, the Division of Personnel is dedicated to the well-being of all of our active employees and our retirees, and we hope that you'll continue to take advantage of future opportunities and to encourage others to participate in events such as this. The more that we connect, interact with one another, and inform ourselves, is the more that we can commit to being a safe and healthy community. And just remember that we are here with you every step of the way. So with that said, do enjoy the webinar, and I hope that we continue to be safe, healthy, and prepared. Thank you, and I'm happy to turn it over to our facilitators.
Thank you, Director Richardson, and excellent words of advice. Thank you. So this webinar aims to provide an educational and an interactive experience as it relates to disaster preparedness and mental health. In today's webinar, we will first have our sister agency, VITEMA, who is going to be presenting on how to prepare and be informed of natural disasters and even what to do in an active shooter situation. We will then have a 5-minute break in which participants will be able to engage in a little fun, interactive game. And thereafter, we have none other than Assistant Commissioner from the Department of Health, Dr. Nicole Syms, and for the final presentation, Stacy Hamrill from the Cigna Employee Assistance Program. I will then be concluding by announcing the rules and of course, the wonderful prizes of our Scavenger Hunt contest. Now, all participants on today's call will receive a first aid kit, compliments of the GVI Wellness Program. We have muted everyone's mic just to avoid any background interference. And we are asking that you please place your questions in the chat just for the essence of time. And one final thing, because your feedback is valuable to us, we will have 2 feedback surveys that will be placed in the chat. One is from the Division of Personnel and VITEMA and the other from Cigna. So now without further ado, I present VITEMA. Please enjoy, and may this information be beneficial to you. VITEMA.
All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Barbara Peterson, and I am the Assistant Director at VITEMA. And we are first very happy to be a part of this wellness event. I want to especially thank Ms. Daly and Ms. Martin from the Group Health Insurance Unit for inviting and including VITEMA in this project. Most people would wonder how hurricane preparedness affects your wellness, but obviously, you know, the number one word is stress. And Director Richardson, good morning as well, and thank you. And Assistant Director Hassel, thank you for allowing us to be a part of this event with Division of Personnel. So, wellness, hurricane preparedness, how does it relate? When you are prepared, there's a lack of stress. So less stress, better wellness. That's how we're looking at it at VITEMA. Now, what we're going to do is a whole slew of things and cover what preparedness means for VITEMA. And we're not just going to focus on one particular event. We're going to talk about man-made and natural disasters. So the theme that we're running with today is what it is, describing the event, and what to do if you have to deal with that event. So next slide. So our presenters today, as I said, I'm Barbara Peterson. I have with me the team for our Planning and Preparedness Division, Ms. Regina Brown, who is our Deputy Director of Planning and Preparedness. I have Ms. Lisa Ann James, who is the Emergency Management Outreach Coordinator. Aisha Rivers, a Territorial Emergency Planning Coordinator. Bria Ward, our Administrative Officer, and Megan Bader, who is our Media and Content Writer. I know we have some other VITEMA employees on the line as well. I think I saw Eric Ackerson, who is our PIO. He's also with us today. So next slide. I'll talk a little bit about who VITEMA is, who we are. So of course, Director Daryl Joshin is the director of VITEMA, and myself, pretty blonde hair, that's me. And that's the 2 people who manage VITEMA, but the real people who run VITEMA are, go ahead, next slide, and who actually do the heavy lifting. As I said, Ms. Brown, Deputy Director Kelly, who is our Operations Deputy Director, Mr. Steve de Blasio over Logistics, Florisita Brun over Grants and Planning, and Mr. Winston Simon, who is our Admin and Finance. The newest Deputy Director to join our team is Ms. Merlinda Philomene, who is our HR and Labor Relations Deputy Director. So I'm sure she'll be working with the Division of Personnel very closely and have been in contact with you. Again, Eric Ackerson, our PIO, Wayne Bryan, our Fusion Center Manager, and Public Assistance is Ms. Melinda Vigilant Messer. She's a Territorial Public Assistant Officer, and Ms. Graciela, Hazard Mitigation Program Manager. So that's a management team. We are a team of about 150 employees. And again, they're the ones that do the heavy lifting around here, and we appreciate them very much. Next slide. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Didi Brown, and then I'll come back and do my presentation as well. Go ahead, Ms. Brown.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Assistant Director Peterson. I'm going to provide some specifics on what the Planning and Preparedness Division does at VITEMA. At VITEMA, we basically oversee and develop the Territorial Emergency Operations Plan, which is known as our TEOP. We also assist agencies with reviewing and just providing some guidance in their emergency operations plan, their continuity of operations plan, as well as helping the branches of government with the continuity of government plan. By reviewing these plans and analyzing them, we're able to identify priorities in the community and recommend areas to address different types of gaps. Now, when we do that analysis, we're now able to organize and conduct trainings, exercises, and perform outreach events such as this platform, where we're able to get the message to the community about preparedness, response, and mitigation attempts to make sure that you stand in a readiness mode for any hazard that can affect the territory. Next slide. The first hazard I will be discussing is what is a hurricane. As the Director of Personnel stated, we are in the peak of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season. We just celebrated, well, not celebrated, we just went through the anniversary of Hurricane Irma and Maria, as well as Hurricane Hugo. Being that we're in the peak, VITEMA urges the community to always stand in a preparedness and readiness mode. I'm going to explain what a hurricane is and provide some tips on how you and your family can always be prepared. A hurricane is a tropical cyclone with minimum winds of 74 miles per hour or greater. This can be ranged into different categories based on the Sanford-Simpson hurricane scale. It starts at a category 1, which causes some damage, and can go up to a category 5, which means it can have winds of over 157 miles per hour, which can lead to catastrophic damage. The hurricane season starts on June 1st to November 30th. But as stated before, the peak actually starts at August 15th until October 15th. So this is the time where you just have to ensure that your family is ultimately prepared. Now I'm going to be providing some tips on what to do prior to a hurricane. Next slide. These are some tips that you and your family should do to ensure that your household is prepared. Check your storm shutters. Make sure that they are actually functional and operational. Repair and strengthen weakened areas around your home. This means to just assess different things in your home that might be compromised. If there are leaks or anything, please ensure you mitigate and you correct those things prior to a storm being an imminent threat or about to make landfall. Check your home insurance policies. Ensure they're up to date. Ensure that you have met deductibles. Speak to the company. Just ensure everything is in place prior to the storm. So if you are able or need to file a claim, you can do so. Take pictures of your property. This includes your home, your vehicles, contents inside of your home. This can include computers, laptops, TVs, anything that you think has substantial monetary value. Please ensure you have pictures prior and post. This assists when you're filing those insurance claims. Trim trees around the property. This is the tool that enables that when tree branches break, when the wind uptakes during any type of storm, please have your trees very well trimmed so that they do not come into contact with vehicles or any power lines that can lead to further damage. Secure your outdoor furniture. Please ensure they're insecure because as the wind picks up, things can become airborne. This leads to additional hazards that can cause damages to physical property as well as individuals possibly. So just ensure that you take those mitigative actions, assess your yard, and just ensure that everything is secured fastly to the ground or secured in a garage or any other storage area in your home. Have your generators checked. We all have generators post-Hurricane Irma and Maria or in the thoughts of possibly getting a generator. It's one thing to have a generator, but also perform preventive maintenance on your generators. This means checking them, starting them, checking the oil, the filters, maintenance. The same way you maintain a car, a generator has to be maintained that exact same way. So please just read what the instructions are on your specific generator and just continuously do that. So if we do receive a power outage for a length of time, your generator is fueled and ready to assist to provide some kind of normalcy for you and your family. Next slide. Now I'm going to be showing a brief video on providing further tips on what to do before a hurricane. So the basic grasp of this video is just showing additional tips of what you can do based on the tips that I provided earlier. Get your medication. Make sure that you have your disaster kit in place, and just ensure that at all times you stand in a preparedness mode. Have the radios turned on so you're able to hear the alerts that will be coming out from the Emergency Management Agency, as well as VITEMA or other government officials. Evacuate if you need to. At all times, your safety is our utmost priority. If you are sheltering and in place, please stay away from windows and glass doors. This avoids any type of debris if those things do break. Please ensure that you never walk or drive in flooded or moving waters. This is the only way that you're actually able to make sure that you don't get any type of additional hazards or injuries that can occur. When the winds do slow down after the storm has left, just make sure that you exercise your plan, you assess what went well and what did not, and then how you and your family can be better prepared for if any hazard does affect the territory in the future. Next slide. I provided some tips on the previous slide, but what I wanted to say at this time is to pay attention to the emergency alerts and information. This means listen to the radio broadcast, the broadcast on our social media platforms, as well as just make sure that you get real up-to-date updates from the National Weather Service, NOAA, or VITEMA, or Government House. Just make sure that you're always in tune of what's happening during a storm, so that you're able to make the best plan for you and your family. Determine in your home how best to protect yourself from high winds and flooding. That basically just means assess how your home, if it's compromised, know if you're in a flood zone. Just mitigate those attempts. Have sandbags when we do sandbag distributions. Just ensure that your home is prepared. Prior to the storm making landfall is actually the most key thing you need to keep in mind for your family. Now I'm going to provide some tips on what to do after a hurricane. As I said, being informed is the utmost priority. That is when you'll be able to hear about possible curfews, when the roadways are deemed safe for you to traverse. Just ensure throughout those periods that you're always listening to the radio or just different platforms such as our social media, which will be shared later in the presentation. Make sure that while you're cleaning up after the storm, that you are safe. We are still in the pandemic of COVID-19. This basically means wear your facial mask. Make sure that you're adhering to social distancing. When a storm does occur, our community tends to band together to help one another to get through the severity of what might have happened. So just make sure that you're always doing it in the most safest way possible. Do not touch electrical equipment if it is wet or stand in water. Please make sure that you turn off all main breakers or fuse boxes. This avoids electrical shock. As the video did mention, do not drive or traverse in any type of water that you cannot see the bottom of. This can cause you to come into contact with dangerous debris, and we want to avoid anything that can cause lives to be in danger or anything like that. As Hurricane Irma Maria did occur, cell phone towers were overloaded. Please come up with a text communication plan so that you're able to get information and know that everyone in your family is safe. This can be done by finding someone who's located in the United States or anybody who is not in the path of the storm. Have that person as the centralized person to get all the text to. That way everyone knows that everyone in your family is safe. Check on your family and friends. Everyone knows that people are still suffering from anxiety from the last storms. Please check on their mental safety and their mental stability throughout this. Check on your seniors in your community. Just make sure as a community we band together to get through this hurricane season and any future hurricane season. Next slide. Okay. Now that I gave you, go ahead, Eddie.
I don't know if
I don't know if she's trying to say something, but I can't hear Eddie.
I was saying that I hope everybody's taking notes. You should let people know that because it's going to be a test, a pop quiz at the end.
Yes, definitely. Make sure you're tuning into the notes because there are prizes that's going to be given away. So the more information that you're able to retain, the better you'll be prepared. And who knows, you'll be lucky enough to get one of the prizes at the end based on tips that I'm giving right now.
Okay, great.
Now, another important factor that you and your family have to do, have a family plan. Come up with a plan that's tailored to you and your family specific needs. Assess your household. Come up with a meeting place. Pick up 2 meeting places at a minimum. You have a primary and you have a backup. This in itself allows you to create a contingency plan, which is kind of like a continuity of operations plan for your family. Make sure that everyone is able to exercise that plan. Come up with plans that everyone knows, from the youngest person in your household until the oldest, where to go, who is the emergency contact. Be sure that everyone knows the addresses and phone numbers for each location. And although you might come up with that plan, exercise, practice that plan, make it a family project, designate roles for the children or adults in your home. Make it a fun event so it becomes muscle memory. And when a threat is imminent, it's something that your family can snap into very readily because you've already practiced so many times. Next slide. Another important factor, have your disaster kits. This is something that personnel mentioned that they're going to discuss or elaborate a little bit further in detail. Every person's family kit will be different. What is important to me might not be what is important to you, but there are some basic essentials that you need to ensure are in everyone's family kit. This is water. You need to have a gallon of water at a minimum for every person for a minimum of 7 days, so you're able to sustain until federal assistance or local assistance is able to assist you and your family. Have non-perishable food, emergency contacts, clothes and shoes, sanitization supplies. We are still under the pandemic, so your safety is our utmost priority. Have family board games that can be a distraction for the family, because we know anxiety is going to be at a higher level. Having this for children and family members is able to be a pastime, so it helps to just lower the anxiety in some way. There is no way for us to say that anxiety won't be an issue, but ensuring you have a plan, like I discussed, is a way to reassure the family that we know what to do and the state will stand ready to support and provide additional tips as necessary. Also, have emergency cash. That is something that's essential. When stores open up, you might not be able to use your ATM cards or your credit cards. Having that cash allows you to still buy things that you might not have had prior to the storm. Have first aid kits, radios, flashlights, and most importantly, have your medication. Please make sure that you go to your pharmacies prior to the storm making landfall and ensure you have at a minimum 14-day supply, just in case the supply chain has been disrupted. Now that I've provided the information on a hurricane, your family plan, and your disaster kit, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Lisa Ann James, the outreach coordinator, to provide some information on earthquakes.
Next slide. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Dee Dee Brown. I am Lisa Ann James, the Emergency Management Outreach Coordinator here at VITEMA. Happy Hump Day to everyone. And let's talk earthquake, what it is and what to do. First thing, an earthquake is a no warning event, which means that we don't know the day or hour that one may occur. Earthquakes are caused by a sudden slip on a fault when the earth releases energy in waves that travels through the earth's crust and causes the shaking that we feel. After an earthquake, we may experience aftershocks that are smaller in magnitude of an earthquake. The magnitude of earthquakes can range from less than 2.5, which we do not feel, to about 8.0 or greater that can totally destroy communities. They may also trigger landslides, avalanches, and tsunamis. Here in the territory, we experience light earthquakes. Yes, I say light because they are light according to the Richter scale in the range of 2.5 to 5.4. Next slide, please. What to do? I did say that an earthquake is a no warning event, but before an earthquake, you can practice what to do in the event of an earthquake. Before an earthquake, practice to drop, cover, and hold, which is to drop to your hands and knees, take cover under something sturdy, whether it's your dining room table or your office desk, and hold on. Practice this safety concept also with your family at home. If the table and desk move, move with it. This will protect you from falling debris. During an earthquake, do what you have been practicing, which is drop, cover, hold. If there's nothing around you to get under, cover your face and your head with your arms and crouch down in the corner of the building. Stay away from glass, windows, outside doors, and anything that can fall and injure you. After the shaking have stopped, check yourself and others for injuries and exit the building with caution. Go to an open space for safety, whether it's a parking lot, an open field, or just outside your home. And please stay away from damaged buildings. Listen to your battery operated radio for notifications from the government officials. Next slide, please. Oh, here what you're looking at is our earthquake signage, which our preparedness brochures that are available in our office for your government agencies. If you're interested, reach out to me and it'll be my pleasure to provide you with some. Next, you'll be entertained for a few minutes with our earthquake jingle. It has a very catchy tune, so let's listen.
Earthquake is nothing for you to be taking for granted. Especially half is Caribbean Sea, the other half is Atlantic. Prevention, yes, it's better than cure. So when you feel earthshake, just drop down to the floor, yeah. During an earthquake, drop down on your hands and knees. During an earthquake, protect yourself from falling debris. During an earthquake, stay away from things that could break. During an earthquake, hold on to anything sturdy until the earth stops shaking. One of those, stay informed, stay prepared.
Oh, I saw some of y'all nodding your head. Good, good. All pumped.
Well,
Now,
Ms. James, you know how it goes. We can always get you through music.
exactly,
They're gonna
exactly.
listen to that. They're gonna listen to that jingle. That might be a road march. You never know. All right,
Hey,
go
once
ahead.
once we get credit for it. Okay, now that we're all pumped, let's talk tsunami. Okay, what to do and how to stay safe during a tsunami. What is a tsunami? A tsunami is a series of waves in a body of water caused by displacement of large volume of water, generally in an ocean. It can travel as fast as 500 miles per hour, which is equivalent to the speed of a commercial jet. There are three types of tsunamis. We have the local, regional, and distant. In the event of a local tsunami, you have up to 20 minutes to get at least 82 feet above sea level or 2 miles inland to safety. That is 82 feet above sea level or 2 miles inland for safety. A regional tsunami occurs within the Caribbean, and you have up to an hour to get to safety. We have more time to get to safety with a distant tsunami. The amount of time that a flight takes to get here is the amount of time we have for a distant tsunami. For example, It takes 2 hours from Miami to St. Thomas. So therefore, that's how long it'll take a distant tsunami to get here. Next slide, please. No. Before a tsunami, practice with your family and in your office your evacuation plan. Know whether or not if you're in your tsunami threat zone. Plan accordingly if you're in the zone. Have more than one route plan to get to safety. During a tsunami, at this time, you should at least be 82 feet above sea level or 2 miles inland. In the event that we have an earthquake and they think it might trigger a tsunami, please do not drive to safety. You will get there quicker on feet than trying to drive. Remember to save yourself and not possessions. After a tsunami, remain in your safety zone until you receive an all clear message from the authorities. That is when it will be safe to return to lower line levels. On this screen to the left, we have our tsunami maps that are available to download on our VITEMA website, which is vitema.vi.gov. Please print them and know your zone. Next slide, please. Okay, and here also is where we have our tsunami signage. And you'll be entertained again with another 1-minute video.
If you're on the beach and you hear a loud roar, or if you see the water receding away from the shore, yes, that is nature warning you. So get as high as you can go. Evacuate, run for your life. Don't even turn back for your wife. Move to higher ground, 82 feet above sea level. Everybody run. Don't go out trying to be no hero. Move to higher ground, 82 feet above sea level. Everybody run. Drop everything you have now. Let's go. Run. Tsunami. Save yourself. Tsunami. Evacuate. Tsunami. Everybody let we run. Tsunami. Save yourself. Tsunami. Evacuate. Tsunami. Everybody let we run. Stay informed.
Next
No,
up,
I know everybody was dancing to that one.
you think so?
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
favorite. It's my favorite song, not for tsunamis, obviously, but we want to encourage people to also,
Absolutely.
per agency,
Okay.
per
Next.
agency, I need to know that you guys are actively working on a tsunami plan so that you know where you're going outside if a tsunami is on a threat. So we need to know that every government agency has an evacuation plan. Do you know where you're supposed to run in case of a tsunami? And you'll be expected to provide that back to VITEMA through our planning and preparedness division. So with all seriousness, we love the song. When you hear it on radio, I hope that people really takes it seriously, not just for your family, but wherever you work. Most government agencies in the territory are in the downtown districts, whether it's Christiansted, Frederiksted, Charlotte Amalia, Cruz Bay, whatever. We need to know that you know where to go if it's called. And when you get those alerts, take them seriously. Okay? Go ahead. The next person.
Next person up is Miss Aisha Rivers, and she will be presenting an active shooter. Miss Rivers?
And thank you, Ms. James. Good morning, all. My name is Aisha Rivers. I'm the Territorial Emergency Planning Coordinator with VITEMA. My topic of discussion is active shooter. An active shooter is an individual actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a confined and populated area. Active shooter situations can happen anywhere and without warning. The random nature of shootings means that threats cannot be predicted, only responded to. Active shooter situations are unpredictable and evolve quickly. Because active shootings are often over within 10 to 15 minutes before law enforcement arrive on scene, you must be prepared both mentally and physically to deal with this type of situation. Next slide, please. What to do? I want you to take away 3 key points: run, hide, and fight. Run. If there is an accessible escape path, try to escape the area. Be sure to have an escape route, a plan in mind. Leave your belongings behind. You do not need it. Help others escape if possible. Prevent people from entering the area where the active shooter may be. Follow instructions from any law enforcement officer. Keep your hands visible, please. This is for your safety. Do not move wounded individuals, and call 911 once you are safe. Hide. If evacuation is not possible, find a place to hide where the active shooter cannot find you. The safest place for you to be is inside a secure room. Your hiding place should be out of the active shooter's view, provide protection if shots are fired in your direction, and do not trap or restrict your movements while you're at that location. Prevent the active shooter from entering your hiding area, hiding place by locking your doors and blocking the door with heavy furniture. If evacuation and hiding are impossible, please remain calm. Dial 911 if possible. If you cannot speak, leave the line open and allow the dispatcher to listen to your environment. Fight. Your last resort when you are in immediate danger is to defend yourself. Commit to your actions and act aggressively to stop the shooter. Ambushing the shooter together with makeshift weapons such as chairs, fire extinguishers, scissors, books can distract and disarm the shooter. Yelling is another great option. If you see something, say something. Be familiar with your surroundings and report suspicious activities. Someone showing prolonged interest or taking pictures or videos of personnel, facility security features or infrastructure, or in an unusual or covert manner, or someone questioning personnel beyond mere curiosity about an event, facility, or operations. Please report that. Before you run, know your exit. Be familiar with your surroundings. Have a plan, like Deputy Director Brown said, have a plan and practice your plan. Know the locations of your emergency exit. Be prepared. How can you help law enforcement? Provide by providing the name and address of the building, the location of the active shooter, number of shooters if more than one, physical description of the shooter, height, weight, race, gender, number and type of weapons, and number of potential victims. Speaking of, learn first aid skills. The first officers to arrive will not stop to help the injured. Until the area is secured, you may have to treat the injured as best you can. So please remember the basic first aid. For bleeding, apply pressure and elevate. To apply pressure, use items such as clothing, paper towels, feminine hygiene products, and newspapers. Now, moving forward post this event, seeking help to cope with trauma is very important. Traumatic stress is a normal reaction to an abnormal event. Usually symptoms get better with time, but with people with more intense symptoms may need professional help. In the days and weeks following such a trauma, it is common for people to have a flurry of unpredictable emotions and physical symptoms that include sadness, feeling nervous, easily angered, difficulty sleeping, intrusive thoughts, flashbacks, and/or nightmares. Lean on your loved ones. Identify friends or family members for support. You can feel when you're ready to discuss the traumatic event, you might want to talk to them about it and share your experience and share your feelings. Face your feelings. It is important to it may be normal to feel to, avoid talking about the traumatic event, but not leaving the house, sleeping all the time, isolating yourself from loved ones, is not the healthy way to cope over time. Prioritize your self-care. Do your best to eat nutritious meals, get regular physical activity, and get a good night's rest. Seek out other healthy coping strategies such as art, music, meditation, relaxation, or just spending time with nature. Be patient and remember that it's normal to have a strong reaction to a distressing event. Take things one day at a time as you recover. As days pass, your symptoms should start to gradually improve. When to seek help. Not everyone requires treatment for traumatic stress. Most people recover on their own with time. However, mental health professionals such as psychiatrists, in conjunction with support from faith-based organizations, can help you find healthy ways to cope in the aftermath of a traumatic event. Want to learn more about surviving an active threat? VITEMA will be hosting Surviving an Active Threat training in the territory, March 14th through the 18th on St. Thomas, 21st through the 25th of March on St. Croix. Don't worry, we'll be sending out the save the date and registration information. Now, as we close on this particular topic, I want you to remember our key 3 points: run, hide, and fight. Next slide, Next slide, please. Thank you. VITEMA has several campaigns throughout the year. I will now invite Assistant Director Barbara Peterson to provide information on National Preparedness Month. Edie?
Hi, again, good morning to everybody. National Preparedness Month is September, and it's so appropriate that when we got the call from the Division of Personnel to request our support to do this event, we were very happy to do it. We do outreach all the time, is what we do. Preparedness Month, meaning not just hurricanes, but everything. And that's why we're giving you a cross section of we train for everything at VITEMA, but we focus today on hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis, and active shooters. And active shooter is one of those things that we never think can happen. It's happening nationally, but in the Virgin Islands, fortunately, thank God, we've never had that situation before. But we have had active shooter exercises here that we practice and exercise, and we will continue to do them so that if God forbid it does happen, we are prepared and ready to move forward. So Preparedness Month, we did engage a lot of different agencies, specifically, of course, fire, police, and EMS, Department of Health. Who else did I forget? Didi Brown, and creating
Human Services 80.
Services, yeah. Make a plan, build a kit. Make a plan was the first week, and making a plan. And what does that make a plan sound like to you? Not only from the government side, but on a personal level, making a plan in your agencies, making a plan at home. The next week was build a kit. The building a kit again is whether it's a go bag. We always encourage everybody to have a go bag. That's a standard thing that we use around here. A bag that just has change of clothes, maybe a toothbrush, maybe a bottle of water, maybe a couple granola bars, something that would sustain you, that if you needed to have food and nourishment and needed to be away from your home for a couple days, that you would be okay. And then the third week, which was last week, we did low cost, no cost preparedness. And we did a in-house competition, who had the best low cost, no cost preparedness. I think I won, but the votes didn't go my way. I don't know. I'm gonna have to probably file some kind of, something going on. And, I'm gonna talk to somebody. If anybody works for the courts that's on here, direct me on who I can speak to. But we had two, I suggested that, which I actually did during Irma Maria, I took Ziploc bags of and just filled them with water, and I froze all of them prior to the storms. So I had lots of ice because, after the storms, ice was a commodity. and I had tons of ice because I was prepared. Dee Brown suggested putting a shower liner in a tub and filling it with water. So if you needed water to wash dishes and, whatever, flush your toilets, that was her suggestion. And PIO Atchison suggested making sure that you put signage on your homes. So using spray paint or paint of some sort, and just making sure so if they needed to find you, they could. And then Ms. Rivera, who's our hazard mitigation, she suggested making sure all your devices were charged, primarily your, your drill, so that you can board up your windows and stuff. So if you guys want to vote now on me, we can take this to the people because, I think mine was the best. I came with visuals and everything. They didn't have anything. But anyway, moving on, the last week was teach your youth about preparedness. VITEMA will talk about our social media platforms and the things that we're doing, but, the song and the jingles that we presented to you is a perfect example of how we're trying to reach young people, because that's how they listen. So we are going to be moving into young people preparedness so that they can be more engaged in preparedness. So that is it for the month of September in national preparedness. And the slide that you see is came from FEMA, actually, which is our federal partner that we work closely with. And our tagline always is be prepared, stay informed, be vigilant. All right, next.
Thank you very much, Assistant Director. I will be moving on to the Great Shakeout. The Great Shakeout occurs October 21st, 2020 at 10:21 a.m. The Great Shakeout is a nationwide earthquake drill focused on practicing how to be safe during an earthquake. How can you participate? I am so glad you asked. Create and register your agencies and teams prior to October 21st, 2021, and at that said day at 20:21 a.m., you and your agencies can participate in a drill while capturing all of this action via pictures or video. And then share it with VITEMA to enter a contest to see which agency completed the best Great Shakeout. I'm telling you, this is a great opportunity. It's a great team builder, and it's a great opportunity to learn with your agency. And you can do this with your families as well. So we look forward to you sharing that information and those pictures with us and your participation. To register, you can contact Ms. Lisanne James. Her contact information is listed, or you can register online via the Great Shakeout website, which is also listed. We look forward to your participation, and don't worry, we will be sending save the dates information as well. Next slide, please. Tsunami Awareness Week is November 1st through the 15th, 2021. Tsunami Awareness Week, we will focus on practicing how to survive a tsunami in the U.S. Virgin Islands. During this week, we will share tsunami tips, ensuring that the community understands the difference between the terms and identifying a tsunami hazard and the different advisories, watches, warnings, alerts, and the things that they need to be familiar with in preparation in the event there is a tsunami. So that is what we'll be covering for an entire week. Information will be sent out, and as activities occur, we'll send the save the dates as well. Next slide, please. Carib Wave 2022. Okay, so that will occur March 10th. Carib Wave is the annual tsunami exercise utilized to enhance tsunami preparedness efforts in the Caribbean and adjacent regions. This is your opportunity to know how to prepare, to survive, and recover from a tsunami in our future. Even if you cannot join us on March 10th, you can still hold an activity anytime throughout the year. We will be sending the save the date registration information shortly. Next slide, please. Hurricane Preparedness Week will be observed May 25th through 31, 2022. National Hurricane Preparedness Month is a national effort to inform the public about hurricane hazards to disseminate knowledge which can be used to prepare and take action. Each day during National Hurricane Preparedness Week, we will address specific hurricane-related topics. This topic will include overview of major hurricanes that occurred in the past, hurricane hazards such as storm surges, high winds, inland flooding, forecast projections, disaster planning and preparation, and knowing what to do and when to take action. The goal is to make sure that every family has a disaster plan, every business has a disaster kit and checklist, and everyone gets out of the path of the hurricane safely. As May 25th through the 31st, 2022 is National Hurricane Preparedness Week, we want you to be reminded that the actual Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st through November 30th. So the preparedness portion that occurs right before is very timely to ensure that we are prepared for the hurricane season that will be coming before us. I will now turn the mic over to Deputy Director Brown, who will provide information on our CERT program.
Thank you, Ms. Rivers. Now that we've talked to you about the hazards that can affect, some of the hazards that can affect the territory, I'm going to provide you on some information on a program called the Community Emergency Response Team, CERT. This program basically supports us throughout any hazard and can support any agency in the territory. You're probably asking, what is CERT? CERT is a program that educates volunteers about disaster preparedness for hazards that can affect their area as well as their communities. You can receive training in basic disaster response skills such as fire safety, search and rescue, team organization, which can tell you how to break down the team in specific goals. Who is the incident commander on your team? Who is in charge of search and rescue? Who can perform medical triage? The Cert Training gives you that foundation to basically support the territory in any way that we would need. CERT is a nationwide approach that just teaches everyone and organizes a way that you can be that first level of response and first level of reassurance to the community if a disaster happens while first responders are on their way. There's pictures on the screen show our recently 2 graduated teen CERT classes and adult classes that graduated both on St. Croix and the St. John. Next slide. Now we'll show a brief video of what the CERT program entails, and then I'll provide some information on how you can become a CERT volunteer for the territory.
We teach people confidence. The confidence that should a situation arise, that you have the capabilities to react to that situation.
It's really empowering to know that you're what's going to be there first, you're what's going to comfort the people.
Our volunteers are made up of really everyone. They are some of the most amazing people that you'll ever meet. They're all different, and they all want to be part of our CERT program for many different reasons.
Everybody brings a skill. That's the beauty of CERT.
Okay, I hope that video provided some additional insight. So basically, CERT just allows everyone in the community to provide their specific skill, and it helps strengthen our community on a whole. As stated previously by Assistant Director Peterson, VITEMA is the coordination agency, but we cannot do anything without the community support. And that's what helps us to build resilience in our community. So if you're interested in becoming a CERT volunteer while we begin to roll out that program later this year, please reach out to Ms. Lisa and James. Ages 12 and up can become teen CERT members. 18 above can become adult members. We are just trying to build a very strong CERT team. So you can support us at VITEMA, Fire Service, Human Services, any emergency support function, but we definitely urge the community to participate, whether individually, whether for your churches, your agencies, and even your organization. So we look forward to getting some additional people signed up. Now, next slide, I'll turn it over to Mrs. James, because we mentioned in the slides very frequently. Oh, before I turn it over to her, let me tell you about the hurricane shelters for the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season. In St. Thomas, it's the Bertha Bisciotti Junior High School and Lockhart Elementary School. St. John, the Adrian Senior Center. St. Croix, the St. Croix Educational Complex High School, and the DC Canigata Community Center. Water Island is the firehouse. Department of Human Services, as the lead of Emergency Support Function 6, is advising everyone the primary goal or the primary thing that we're pushing out as a territory is to shelter in place due to the pandemic. But if you do have to at any time leave your home to make your way to any of these primary evacuation shelters, please do so prior to the storm making landfall. That goes into the assessments and the preparations that I mentioned before. It is not safe when the storm makes landfall for you and your family to traverse on the pathways or the roadways. So please make that assessment, determine which shelter is closer to you and your home, share their information with the community, and please just ensure that you know the shelters, you determine a safe path there, and if you have any questions, please reach out to either VITEMA or Department of Human Services, and we'll be happy to assist further. Now I'll turn it over to Mrs. Lisa Ann James. She's going to tell you how you can actually stay informed and receive all the real-time updates that VITEMA provides to the community on a daily basis.
Thank you, Didi Brown. It's me again, everyone. The Alert VI. Alert VI is VITEMA's mass notification system that alerts the territory in the event of an emergency such as hazardous weather, hurricanes, or earthquakes. By now, I know everyone on this call, on this platform, has been receiving our notifications. If not, I encourage you to visit our website and sign up. The link is on the bottom of our homepage. And also, if you have seniors and hearing impaired family members, they too can receive our notifications on their device. Our tagline here at VITEMA is be prepared, stay informed, and be vigilant. When you sign up, you're staying informed. So everyone, let's do this. Let's sign up for our VI alert. Next slide, please.
Okay, good day, everyone. My name is Megan Beta, and I am the media and content writer here at VITEMA. And at VITEMA, we utilize our social media platforms to regularly inform the community on different events, trainings, weather updates, etc. We've actually introduced our latest social platform, which is our TikTok, to engage the territory's youth in learning about hazard mitigation, response and recovery, as well as preparedness. So, if you have any young kids who are glued to their phones all day, let them know that we have a TikTok now so that they can engage and that they can learn more about what we've discussed here today. I know we have some retirees on the call, so TikTok may not be your primary source of information, but I digress. As you can see, we also have our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, all of which we update regularly to help everyone stay informed, which again is one of our key values here at VITEMA. Being informed is synonymous with wellness because in order to truly be well, you and your family must be safe. And knowing what's happening in the territory and how to protect yourselves during an emergency is vital to doing so. Feel free to follow our social media pages. You see them listed there. And please remember, as Ms. Rivers stated earlier, we will be participating in the Great Shakeout next month, and we encourage each agency to participate as well. Film the drill, take pictures, post them to your agency's socials, and tag VITEMA on our platforms, and we'll be glad to reshare. At this time, I'm going to pass the mic back over to Deputy Director Brown.
Thank you, Ms. Beta. This concludes our presentation. We're at the question and answers portion. I know that you mentioned before you would use the chat function. So at this time, we are open to answer questions. If anybody on the platform does have questions before Assistant Director Peterson close out the presentation.
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to I had a bone to pick with Megan about suggesting that retirees don't know about TikTok. That's just my thing.
You never know. There might be some retirees that love TikTok, so I won't judge next time.
I didn't know what TikTok was, so I am right there until you guys schooled me. All right. So, Mr. Knight, how are we going to manage the questions and answers?
Good morning, everyone. Right now, there are no questions in the chat, so I'm guessing everybody was waiting until you were done. So if anybody does have any questions, if you want to raise your virtual hand, and we'd be more than happy to take your questions now.
Well, I will go ahead and close out because we are at our mark. We were
Oh,
given
yes.
an hour and it's 11, so we're going to go. Ms. Daly had a question.
I do. I know that there was some tsunami signal placed all around the island, and after I believe Hurricane Maria, I think they were damaged. Are they up and running and working at this point?
Good question. Great question. Actually, we are actively putting them up. We are working per island. Right now, we have completed many sites on St. Thomas, then we move to St. John, and then we move over to St. Croix. So we are working actively on doing that presently. But you are correct. They were all damaged and or destroyed after the last storms in 2017. Okay, so I guess we're going to close out. If people have chats, we can answer them afterwards. We can respond in the virtual chat. Again, thank you for the opportunity for being here. Our contact information is there. You can always reach us at vitema.vi.gov. VITEMA's last 4 digits at all our offices are 2244. So it's 774, 773, and 776 on St. John. The one thing that I recognize with emergency management, especially when we do these kind of presentation, many times in the Virgin Islands, people take things for granted. For example, we all know about hurricanes. We all know about buying water and non-perishable foods and being prepared. But sometimes there are people that do not take it seriously. And then the bigger part is, I want people to understand about managing expectations. VITEMA is the coordinating agency for emergency management for the Virgin Islands. We are here, we stand ready, but we all have heard that one person who calls the radio station after day 2 of a storm, claiming they don't have water, they don't have food. At that point, VITEMA is dealing with assessing and focusing on responding to emergencies, people who have lost their homes, search and rescue, clearing roads, making sure that we are stabilized so that we can go back to helping and supporting people who need support. So just like when we get on that plane every single time and we sit in the emergency row and that flight attendant say, I need your verbal confirmation that you understand that this is what you need to do. That's what we expect when we say manage expectations. VITEMA will be here, we will be ready, we have resources. I'm speaking to the, preaching to the choir because you are government agencies, you know. You know that we have hundreds of thousands of gallons of water and food stockpiled throughout the island, and assets we have right now. VITEMA has we have assets that we've never had before. We have light towers, we have forklifts, we have all these things that we can respond. But what we can't do is have people risking their lives to come out because you forgot to buy water. So we're asking you, every time you run to the store, buy water, stockpile it, perishable food, one fill basket. Make sure everybody's budget is different. Again, take a couple dollars and save it on the side. So if the power lines go down and the ATMs aren't out working and you need cash, it's there. These are things that we want you to remember, because at the end of the day, that's why we're here, to talk about wellness. And if your stress is low, you're able to manage, you're able to manage anything that comes your way in the best way possible. So I will end there. Again, Mrs. Daly, Mrs. Martin.
Have assistant director.
Question in the chat.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Perfect. I'm here with my speech. I thought we were done. Go ahead. Questions?
Okay, the question is by Miss Lena Williams. She says, if I live more than 82 feet high, should I stay in my home or head for a higher point?
You can stay in your home.
And Miss Parker actually had her hand up as well, Miss Denise Parker.
Go ahead, Denise Parker.
Denise, you're muted.
I think she was just, because she's a chat monitor, she was just asking the question on behalf of Miss Williams.
Oh,
So I
okay.
think we are
Oh,
good.
okay.
We don't, yeah, we
Okay.
don't have any other questions.
Okay.
So thank you to all of the presenters from VITEMA. This was such a wealth of information, and we really could not have done this without you. And we thank you for all that you do to keep this community informed and prepared. Thank you very much. So now we will have a quick 5-minute break. Again, I will be placing in the chat a word search puzzle that's related to disaster preparedness, and you have 5 minutes only to complete. It is 11:09, so therefore you have until 11:14 to complete the puzzle. You'll access the link and you'll be able to engage in the puzzle through there. Good luck.
Like,
And of course, those who choose not to do the puzzle, if you want to take a quick 2-minute stretch and walk around and come back, that's fine.
I'm not getting on the link. How you get on the link?
Denise, your mic is open.
Oh, sorry.
You should be able to click on it and it should open up in a browser, or you can copy or right click the link and then paste it.
Excuse me, where's the link?
It's in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
If you click, yeah, you click in the chat, it should pop up. Is everybody able to open the link okay?
No.
I recognize that we have GESC board member Lorraine Morton on the webinar. I just wanted to recognize Ms. Morton. Thank you for joining us. The GESC Health Insurance Board is a major part of this event and a sponsor. Thank you for joining us, Ms. Morton.
Did anyone get the link open to the puzzle, the word search?
Oh.
Huh?
If it's not opening in your browser, you can actually right click on it and they should pop up which says either copy link or open link. And if you copy it and paste it into your browser, it'll open up, or it should open directly into your browser. But if it's not opening when you click on it, I recommend the copy link and then paste it into your browser, and that should open the link.
I finished mine.
Oh,
Oh,
congratulations.
Who finished?
You know what? I didn't get to
Loretta
finish
David
mine.
finished hers.
Awesome, Loretta.
nice, Loretta. So we
Well,
have 1 more minute.
wow, a lot of people are finished.
Some people are finished. And should be wrapping up now. Okay, 11:14. Thank you everyone for participating in that little exercise. We really appreciate it. I hope you had fun. So now, next we have Dr. Nicole Syms, Assistant Commissioner for the Department of Health, who will be presenting Understanding Trauma, Behavioral, and Mental Health. Even though trauma affects everyone differently, the impact of trauma can be destructive and long-lasting on mental health. Therefore, I present to you Dr. Nicole Syms.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good
Hope
morning.
everyone is doing well. Morning. Okay, so before we start, I just need everyone to kind of sit back in whatever chair you're in. Make sure your shoulders are actually touching the back of your chair. And I want you to just relax, literally feel your body kind of sink in to that chair. Even if I can't see you, I need everyone to really participate in doing this. You're going to close your eyes and we're going to do a breathing exercise. Okay, you're going to breathe in for 3. You're going to hold that breath for 7 and exhale for 4. Okay, so close your eyes, get very comfortable, very relaxed. We're going to do this 3 times. And the next time you hear my voice, I'll be beginning the presentation. Okay, in for 3, count for 7, out for 4. Ready, and in. Awesome, okay. So something as simple as that breathing exercise really takes you, focuses you, brings you back to a central point. And we can launch into the presentation. I don't see it right now. Do you want me to share it, or is it going to be shared?
Dr. Sims, you have to share it on your end.
Okay.
Which should be, it's a PowerPoint, which is already open?
Yeah, it's a PowerPoint, yeah.
Okay,
I'm about to share my screen now.
Yes, okay, perfect.
Yeah, can everyone see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I hope today's not a Murphy's Law kind of day, guys.
No.
All right, can you see it now?
There we go.
Alrighty. Okay, so let's launch right into understanding trauma, behavioral health, and mental health. Today, I really kind of want to touch on trauma, what it means to us, recognizing trauma, what it means for our mental and behavioral health, as well as mental health in the workplace, stress, anxiety, and how we can be a source of help for not only ourselves, but other persons. Now, when we speak about trauma in the world of mental and behavioral health, we're talking about 3 very distinctive E's, and that is the event that has taken place, whatever that isolated event is, or the series of events, things that continue to occur. We're talking about what we experience as people and how we hold on to those things, how things either stick or roll off of us as people, family members supporting in that particular way, or isolation. And we're talking about the adverse, long-lasting effects that happen from whatever that trauma possibly is or could be. And so whenever we think about something that takes place with us, there's always going to be a linkage between what the occurrence was, how we experience that occurrence, and what are the long-lasting effect of that occurrence. Types of trauma, and because we live in an all hazards area, as the presenters before, VITEMA, that excellent presentation pointed out, essentially we are in a all hazards area. And so our type of trauma levels are very high. We experience natural disaster. We experience community violence almost on a daily basis. We have human caused disaster, which continue to be something that happens nationally that filters to us because we are in a US territory. Family trauma is not absent of any of us. Medical trauma, which of course would be something like COVID-19, and the rapid loss of persons, whether we know them or not. All of these things, whether we know it or not, plays on us as people because we need one another to connect. So once any one of these areas happen, we're going to feel it. Recognizing trauma for ourselves and for other people can come in the form of feeling very overwhelmed, and it happens to everyone. Something happens to you and it's almost as though you feel as though you need to step outside and take a break. Anytime you like, you know what, I need 5 minutes. That's because your body, your mind, your soul, and your spirit are reacting to whatever that trauma is. When persons hear the term trauma, they always kind of think on a very grand scale, a very broad scale. And half the time it's not. Trauma could be something as simple as hitting your toe on the bed frame. That minute or two that you're either cursing, yelling, praying, screaming, crying, whatever you're doing when you hit that toe, or all of those, a healthy combination of all, that's trauma. So in that moment, you are experiencing a lapse in your mental health. Of course, trauma comes from any form that may happen on a one-time situation or a series of events. It is exposure sometimes from childhood that we bring into adulthood. A lot of times as children, we go through something and we don't process. We're not given the opportunity to either speak about it. We're not giving opportunities to see persons, to speak with persons. And so we're kind of stuck in that. And we grow as adults and we take a little piece of that with us. Here in this image that you see, this is how the brain pretty much works, okay? The left side of our brain is designed for us to work and to function. It's to kind of go in every day, make a living, pay bills, family survival, food, essentials, clothes, whatever that you need. And the right side is where we try to relax. We read books, we watch TV, we spend time in relationships, we go to the gym. We do whatever we need to kind of balance both. But one side of the brain should never attempt to function without the other side. And that's the balance that we need as people. Trauma impact on staff. It goes from self-reflection and understanding from why am I feeling this way today? Me. I'm thinking about it and I'm like, something is not right with me. It goes from there to coworkers, then recognizing, okay, something isn't necessarily right with Nicole, and I'm gonna use myself as an example throughout this entire presentation, but something isn't right with Dr. Syms. What's happening with her? She's off today. Then it goes to who supervises and being able to recognize that someone in your shop is complaining. It can be anything from headaches on a daily basis. Someone is like, yo, my head hurts today. And you're like, okay, but your head hurt Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What's happening? And asking those pertinent questions. There can be fear and anxiety in the workplace with your staff. Fear doesn't always have to be shaped around a traumatic or violent event. Fear can be just being in that particular setting, be it in your office, functioning, having to speak in front of large crowds, having to make presentations. All of those things can lead to an impact that if you question in a kind way, you can uncover any trauma that the person is experiencing. So what does this all mean for behavioral and mental health? Before we deep dive, let's have some definitions kind of read off so that we understand the difference, the very subtle difference. For many, many years, whenever we heard mentally ill, most of us went immediately to persons who are on the street. We immediately associated mental illness with individuals who are walking the streets, asking for change, speaking to themselves, yelling, or violent. We never really factored in what mental health means because we were using those terms interchangeably, and that's not exactly how this works. Okay, so mental health is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities. They can cope, they can balance stressors of life, they can work productively and fruitfully, and they're able to contribute to the community. So that's mental health. That's what you do every day. Mental health is what brought us all here today to do the presentation. It's what allows presenters to present. It's what allowed us to get dressed this morning. It's what allows us to match our clothing. You know, it allows us to visualize this PowerPoint. That's your mental health. That's stability, that's coping, that's contribution. Mental illness, on the other hand, is defined as health conditions involving changes in emotion, thoughts, and behavior. Mental illnesses are associated with distress and or problems in functioning socially, in your work, and at family activities. So mental illness is the spectrum that most of us, if not all of us, live on. The degree to which an individual suffers from mental illness varies. And that's where we step into support through therapy, medications, stability, etc. And behavioral health is actually the umbrella which covers both mental health and mental illness. Behavioral health is just that, the behaviors that we go through, okay, to align our body, mind, soul, and spirit, the things that we do. If we all woke up every morning and decided we're going to smoke 24 cigarettes before 8 a.m. every day for a month, and then after that month, we say, oh my God, I look 80. Oh my God, my heart is beating triple its time. That is because of the behavior that you decided was the best thing for you, which turned out that it was not. Behaviors in life, anywhere from your diet, your sleeping pattern, your exercise, etc., has a direct impact on both your mental health and any mental illness challenges. And that's why it's the umbrella term. So as I mentioned before, mental health is what kind of brought us all here. A lot of times when people hear mental health, they think very big again. And I think the purpose of the presentation for me today is to get persons to understand that mental health doesn't have to be the entire cow. We could take pieces of that cow, because that's what becomes overwhelming for us as people. And then before you know it, we're spiraling and we can't control where we are or how we're thinking. Getting married is a mental health hiccup. Because if anyone here is married, you know, coming down to that pressure, the way your thoughts are, how am I going to pay for this? Where's it going to be? Who's coming? Are they here yet? Did they RSVP? What do I do? I spent this money, etc. That's your mental health, and it's going and it's playing and it's playing. Having children, any new job or career moves, new home, anything financial, and of course, loss and grief. All of these are part of your daily mental health. The key is balancing both and being able to feed into healthy behaviors that would lead to a healthy mental health existence. Okay? Now, I just really want to be clear. Every single person, all of us here today and everyone in the world, mental health, we all have. We all have. So even up to a few years ago, persons would say, you know, you're suffering from mental health. Okay, so no one suffers from mental health. So I just want to make sure that we kind of dispel that. Everyone has mental health. You have to function. If you didn't, you wouldn't be here, like I keep saying. So your mental health is how you balance your day to day. And as you can see here, one of the things I talk about is there doesn't have to be a diagnosis. No one diagnoses you with mental health. Okay? Everyday occurrences up and down, it's okay. It's okay that today someone cries in the bathroom for 30 minutes. It's okay that you say, listen, I need to just give me 10 minutes. Let me collect myself, because right now I'm feeling a little anxiety. I'm anxious about whatever is happening. That is healthy and it is okay. That does not mean that someone needs to write you a script to go to see Dr. Syms and sit on my white couch. That means that you're human and that you are experiencing life in its most natural form. What you're seeing here is the mental health continuum. And I'm gonna make sure that everyone, you know, has a copy of this. You can go back through and you can see what's happening. But this red light, yellow, amber, red is essentially a self-reflection tool. I encourage you, once you get this presentation, to kind of pull this out every now and again and see where some of your behaviors lie, and then identify what you may need by way of assistance to maintain a good balance between your mental health and your everyday life. If you're calm and steady, you're well rested, you're in control mentally, emotionally, physically, you're behaving in a moral and ethical way, you're pretty much good. You're in that green. This is your daily occurrence. This is how you live and you function with others. Where we start to get into a little bit of the yellows is that someone comes into your office and they ask to borrow a pen and you tell them, get out. I don't have one. No. Something is happening. It's bigger than the pen. And I know a lot of us who work with persons, we see them snap for no reason. And we say to ourselves, well, why? Like, that wasn't such a big deal. That's because that person's mental health is becoming a little shaky. The individual could be nervous, they could be impatient, you know, they're not necessarily understanding their 360, they're not interested in a lot of what you're saying, they're not replying, there's no conversation. So they're slipping into an area where they need to be pulled back into balance. Where we become injured mentally is when we react in an angry, violent way half the time. We can't concentrate. We're all over the place. We're very poor with what we're saying. We're not understanding. And we start to deteriorate not only in our work and home life, but our physical appearance. You know, we come in, we're disheveled. We're not really together. We're asking persons to repeat things over and over. This is the area as co-workers, if you have that type of relationship, this is where you as a co-worker should support one another and ask those pertinent questions. Even if it's, hey, you okay? You seem a little off. What's happening? Talk to me. You don't have to be a licensed psychologist to speak to someone or to ask them if they're okay. And all of that is therapy. And it could be what takes that person from amber to yellow and eventually back to green. In the red, you definitely would need to then reach out to someone, because at this point, you are on that spectrum for a very, very long time. Everything is piling up, it's building, and you're suppressing. And so you're not necessarily utilizing any outlets to get any of that off of your chest. You may be experiencing panic attacks, you may be passing out, you may be very explosive in your actions and your words. You are secluded. You're not participating. You're missing deadlines, appointments, etc. And this whole diagram floats from work to home life. You have children, you're married. It translates to the point where you may possibly be replying very violently, or, just kind of roughing up your children or your husband or your wife. It's because you're not balanced in your mental health. So this is what we use in psychology to just kind of present a visual to individuals when we're offering any type of therapy to persons, and we let them know, okay, everyone falls really within a 4 quadrant area. We have maximum mental health disorder issues, and we ask persons to see someone, to speak with someone, may need medication, etc. And then we have minimal mental health disorder problems or challenges, and there's a balance down the middle. And as you can see here, you can go anywhere from having a serious diagnosis of mental illness, which would include severe depression, schizophrenia, severe anxiety, social issues. That's where persons can't even interact with other individuals. They can't go to work, they can't leave their home. That paranoia begins to set in. All of these areas would require psychiatric assistance at some point and some medication stability. And then you can go from there all the way down to not being diagnosed, but still having poor mental health. So you're not diagnosed as schizophrenic, you're not diagnosed as having anything severe, needing a medication, etc. However, you're not happy, you're not functioning, you're not seeing the silver lining, you're not enjoying anything about anything you're doing. You're in a routine where it's up, dress, work, home, up, dress, work, home, up, dress, work, home. There's no deviation, there's no glimmer of light, there's no outlet, there's no laughing, there's nothing. And so that in itself requires some type of therapy that can assist you in expanding the mind. What happens is when persons are in such a routine that they're unable to enjoy any of the essence of life, the right side of their brain is no longer receiving the jolt that it needs to send out something as simple as endorphins to improve mood. Okay, and so that can be back to the behaviors, anything from a lack of exercise to not eating well, not resting. A lot of people think they can go on 4 hours sleep and then function for 15 hours a day. And no, it's going to catch up. Okay, here's my friend the elephant. And essentially this as well as a visual speaks to the fact that nationally, 1 in 4 persons experience mental health problems and challenges. The issue that we have, and I think it could be a Caribbean thing, I don't know. I'm from Trinidad, I've lived here for a long time, and I see it happening in both areas. A lot of times it's, you'll be fine. You said to someone, I need to talk about so-and-so, you'll be fine, sleep it off. Okay, we prior to the pandemic, we did not associate therapy with natural mental health balance. A lot of people don't go to therapy. A lot of individuals feel like that, like I said before, so people who really need severe help, they can't help themselves, they blah, 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 blah. There's a stigma still around seeking assistance. But I'm here to tell you, I am a psychologist and I have a therapist. Having a therapist is an aid, it's an assistance. It's great to speak to family members. It's great to share with your close friends and persons that you know, but sometimes you need someone who is going to give you objective advice. You need someone that's going to be clean slate, listen to what you're saying and say to you, okay, have you thought about this? Well, you might have been wrong for doing this. Did you apologize for this? Okay, so seeking therapy is something that I encourage everyone to do. And of course, 1 in 6 workers experience depression and anxiety. And sometimes we pass it straight. We don't recognize it. I'm not saying that your workplace should be a social event and you don't do any work at all, but I am encouraging because we spend at least 50 to 60% of our time at work or with our coworkers, more time at work than at home. So it's important that individuals who work with you, who see you on a daily basis, can recognize to support and help you what you may need to keep your mental health balanced. Okay, so these are just some tips, mental health in the workplace. Now, the workplace can be a support of sustaining positive mental health. That means that, again, if you're there for more than half of your life, you need persons who will support you in what you're doing. You need individuals who will speak to you kindly, who greet you in the morning. Something as simple as, how are you? That helps persons, okay, with their mental health. No workplace is immune from such risk, which would include having an imbalance, because you can have a coworker that simply drives you up and down each wall of the building. That's life. We're not going to love everybody. We're not going to get along with everybody. But there has to be a way that you are able to cope with not only the person, but the situation, okay, to protect your own mental health. Here in the territory, there are several residents, okay, who aren't able to function. And that's because they are suffering from some type of behavioral mental health challenge. And again, we have to be able to support one another by recognizing what may be the imbalance, not only in self, but in others. One of the key things that I generally tell persons, and I used to tell them as well when I had clients, is that you have to set mental health boundaries. You have to let persons know, okay, let me use me as an example. If I don't eat by 1 p.m., I'm very grouchy. And I let people know, we cannot have a casual conversation until I eat. That's a boundary. Because if you come and speak to me and you know that I'm starving and I have an attitude, then you're asking me basically to compromise my mental health. Because what comes next is I'm going to be very grouchy. You're going to ask me something and be like, can you get on my face? Then you're going to be like, oh, Nicole has an attitude. I'm be like, yes, I have an attitude. And then you're essentially pouring salt on my wound because I'm hungry. So that's a boundary. So once you respect that boundary, now my coworkers, if they see that time comes, they're like, okay, so before I ask you anything, let's go get some lunch. And so we compromise. I eat, I'm better, and we talk. And that's where that support comes in. We're in a small territory. We definitely need to support one another. Stress. We can't deny that COVID has brought in a tremendous amount of stress. This image is all of us at some point dealing with not only the pandemic, but still having to do our everyday processes. Okay, not one of our agencies shut down in order for us to deal with COVID, not one. So we still have things we needed to do, and then we still needed to respond. And so from time to time, each of us has looked like this. The degree, however, to which one feels overwhelmed can be curbed by recognizing how to pace oneself, how to prioritize all of the things that we need to do. That too is part of the balance. We can eliminate it because stress is not a psychiatric diagnosis. Someone can be like, I'm stressed, and we're not immediately like, oh, you need medication. No, stress is caused by hiccups in the mental health. It's caused by doing things last minute, jamming things up to the last minute. Anytime you have a deadline and you wait until the day before the deadline, you're going to have levels of stress and anxiety. For some people, it helps to take them through. Some people work excellent under stress. I'm one of those people. But that doesn't mean that it's fun to go through everything and do it at the last minute. There has to be pace, which gives you the opportunity to do things correctly. When you're doing things last minute, and that's for everyone, children, homework, adults, work, deadlines, anyone, everyone. If you wait until the last minute, you're going to have some hiccup or complication, which will then add to the stress levels that you're already experiencing, okay? Coping with day-to-day symptoms of mental health challenges, as well as potentially needing to manage, juggle medication appointments or treatment, can become extra sources of stress. This is key because outside of our work, we have families, we have to manage them. We have spouses, relationships, we manage them. And then a lot of times, even though we start out putting ourselves first, after we've looked at everything that has to be done, we're like fourth or fifth. And that's not the way it should go. I heard the analogy of the plane earlier. I'm going to use it where they say, when we're going down, please put this on you first and then tend to who's next to you. That's how life should be. You definitely need to save you in order to save others, okay? Anxiety is something that we also see that kind of comes out of the pores of certain individuals. Of course, it's a term that refers to feeling worry, nervousness, apprehension, or fear. And as I mentioned before, fear doesn't have to be associated with any form of violence. But if you're nervous and apprehensive to do anything, levels of anxiety can lead persons directly into panic attack, which can lead directly into a permanent or long-term imbalance of mental health. Again, here, this is where support comes in. Now, naturally, there are people around us who are going to be nervous. People are just wired that way. They're always going to be like, oh my God, I can't. And your role to assist them is to reassure them that they can, to give them and support them in some way and let them know, hey, focus on this and you'll get through it. Hey, don't worry about this, you get through it. You kind of have to be that engine for some people that you work with, live with, love, care about. You're going to have to support them in that way. What we're seeing here is the support. Okay, I kind of touched on support throughout. We cannot be judgy. That's one thing we can't do. We absolutely cannot be judgy. I have told people before when I speak, my own clients, etc., I let them know I have a therapist. And in the beginning, people were like, why? Because like I said, how they associate this. I'm like, but you are, yeah, I am, but I need. Okay, everyone needs. And so judgment is one thing that has to go. If persons are going to speak with you, share with you, encourage you to do the right thing, judgment has to go. You can't be afraid of judgment, but you have to be in a position to help persons eliminate that from their lives. You have to be patient. Patience is something that a lot of us are running very low on, especially through the pandemic. At this particular point in time, it's very difficult to have persons give you their all anymore because so many of us are depleted. Finding patience is almost a gift at this particular point in time. But being patient with yourself has to come first in order for you to be patient with other people. You have to be forgiving. That's a very difficult one. A lot of times people are like, you know what, you're going to take that to Jesus because I'm not forgiving you. Let the Lord do that. But for you, as a person, you have to forgive because at the end of the day, how would you function? You're going to carry that with you all the time and you don't need it because then your mental health becomes, in jeopardy. You have to, excuse me, stay focused. You have to listen. All of these bubbles that you see here, again, like the other slide, you can simply look at these every now and again and kind of recharge and make sure that you are on that path. And finally, we come into recovery because everyone recovers. We recover from disaster. We recover from loss. We recover from anything that had a hiccup. We recover from hitting our toe. It heals. We recover from getting married and having children, moving into the home. After a while, you settle. You settle in, you're comfortable, and you're good. Even here for us, who are high-level functioning agencies and departments, high-level functioning people, when things happen, we're up at 100%, and we're functioning day in, day out, day in, day out. But even that 100% eventually starts to go down, and we settle. As people, we begin to, we know what's happening, we know what's going on, things become routine, we build a cadence, and then we start to recover. Okay, so recovery essentially meaningful, satisfying way of life. It's where you are now and you're gaining control. Okay, we can't always be in control of everything that happens, and that alone, that losing that control is something that can mess with you mentally, especially if you are a person who is in control all of the time. Once you start to lose that, you feel like you're unstable. But then once you think about it and you put things into perspective, the meaningful, satisfying way that you function in life starts to build back up and you're good. Self-care. This is also something that, I'm going to leave with everyone so they can see. Self-care is very, very, very important. And this wheel basically takes us through everything that we need to function as people. We have to be emotionally willing and ready to be vulnerable. We got to cry it out sometimes. I often tell people my tear ducts are dry because I generally don't cry. I feel like I can kind of do it all. My cape is always on, but sometimes the cape gets heavy, it gets dirty, and it needs to come off. You have to laugh. You have to love people. You have to express that you love people. You have to have compassion. Okay. Now, that very last line, buying yourself gifts, most definitely wrap them up, take it home, open it, surprise yourself. Okay. You have to treat yourself well if you want to treat other people well. In your personal life, you have to relax. You have to do things that you like. Very early on in the pandemic, doing the series of speaking tours, my thing was okay, find a book that you love, find a TV series that you love, find any little thing, walks on the beach, pets, running, talking, laughing, whatever it is. Hone in on that for just a few minutes every day. It became overwhelming for us as a territory. And so for everyone, just a few minutes a day connecting with yourself and doing something that you liked, something that brought a smile to your face was essential. And as I said almost 2 years ago with the pandemic, it holds true today. Do a little something that you like. Do something that makes you smile. Do something that makes you laugh. Okay? Physically, you got to move about. You have to exercise. You have to take trips. You have to take warm baths. Now, taking trips, I'm not necessarily, you don't have to go on a plane. But if you call me and I say, hey, I'm in Fiji, can't talk right now, don't tell me I'm not in Fiji. I'm in Fiji. Okay? You letting people know you're in Fiji. Whether or not you could see my house in the background or whatever, I said I'm in Fiji, I'm in Fiji. Okay? So mentally take yourself wherever you need to be to rejuvenate and to get yourself well. Professionally, like I said before, set those boundaries. Okay, Nicole must eat before 1 p.m. That's a boundary. It's written on my wall. It's written on my door. Do not knock here if I haven't eaten. Okay, if you have to, leave work. Okay, you're like, I need to leave these walls for an hour. I need to go somewhere for 30 minutes. And the most important thing at the bottom here is learning to say no. And this is where I come in. So full disclosure, I'm making this presentation, excuse me, I am a person that is constantly on the go, constantly on the go. Okay. I want to make sure that everything is good for every single person. And I don't say no very often. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can get this done. I can do this. I can get this done. And it's usually at the expense of the personal part of this wheel. And so yesterday, I passed out, full-fledged passed out. And that was because it got to a point where, all right, my body's like, okay, Nicole, this is enough. So this wheel can really be the Dr. Syms wheel today because I started to falter on a lot of these areas, the emotional, the physical, the personal, and I shoved everything into professional. Okay. And so once we do that, the consequences of that is you just kind of waking up with EMTs like, are you okay? That is something that you cannot afford to have happen. And this is the balance that is very essential for every single person to have. At this point in time, I'm no longer really speaking to the wheel. I'm speaking to you as a person who has gone through it. It's not a place that you want to be. You can't do everything. And I know for a lot of us, we want to do everything. We want to make sure things are functioning and moving and working. And that is fine because we're all professionals. However, if you're not here, then you can't do it. Okay? So please, if you take nothing else away from this, please take away the fact that this wheel is very, very important. Each one of these areas has to be balanced in order for you to function as a person. All right. And that brings me to the end. Any questions?
No questions.
Dr.
It's an
Sims,
awesome. Sorry, go ahead, Mr. Knight.
oh no, I was gonna say I don't see any questions in the chat, but I do want to thank Dr. Sims. That was very deep and for me very impactful, especially just the point about knowing that you can't do it all. Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Dr. Sims, awesome presentation. I like the point where you said that sometimes you really need to get out. I find myself staying in the office all day, not even taking a lunch hour, and then you feel overworked, overwhelmed because you didn't take time for yourself. So it's important to really take an hour for yourself, but excellent presentation this morning.
Thank you so much. And honestly, I'm going to say that a lot of times we say that we will, because I have done that. I've said to myself, people are like, Nicole, you need to take a break. You need to take a break. I'm like, yeah. And then you don't. And so, and as you know, you ladies know, Miss Martin and Miss Daly know, we're doing a gym. So that's something that we do. So whereas, you have a casual something happen. So yesterday, we're full disclosure because that's how I live. You had a salad and you were great for that 30 minutes. You were full, you were great. But then you turn and you go into that rigorous kind of motion. And it doesn't always have to be the gym. It can be that you have children, you have activities after work, etc. And you're going. And so even when we say to ourselves, listen, I need to take a break, we don't always listen. And then what happens? Your body's like, okay, you're not listening. Okay, boom, drop. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, and that's what happened. And I was like, okay, I hear you. So it's essential that we, take little breaks here and there. We don't have to eat the whole cow at one time. We can pace ourselves and make sure that we are feeding into our mind, body, soul, and spirit in order to remain healthy.
We have one question from Mr. Cordell Reimer, who asked if you had to work on your birthday.
If I did?
Yes.
Or
do you work on your birthday?
I do.
That was not a trick question, Dr. Sims. That was more of a joke, but you do need to take some time off if you're working to the point where you actually passed out. I heard you were deep, but I heard that part of the presentation, and so you definitely got to take some time for yourself.
Absolutely.
Maybe that was your signal to put in for some vacation time, you know what I'm saying?
Like the slip.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any other questions. I too agree. This information, I like how you made it personable. Every one of us, we're going through some aspect of it. So I'm glad that you was able to share information that we could actually relate. And I just want to say thank you for this excellent presentation. And we are tremendously grateful for all that you and the Department of Health do to keep us safe.
Thank you so much.
So I know we're running a little behind on time. We have the final presentation, which will be given by Stacy Hamrill for the Cigna Employee Assistance Program.
All right. Hello, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm Stacy Hamrill, and again, I am with Cigna, and I'm going to give you some information about your Employee Assistance Program, which is a perfect follow-up to what we just saw. So, whoops. I'm going to get this sharing. Sorry, for some reason it's not opening my share tray. Can y'all see my screen?
No.
No, we can't.
Very strange. Hold on.
Are you in Microsoft Teams?
I am. We did it this morning and it worked
Right.
fine. Technology.
Or there could be a delay as well too, depending on how many programs you have running.
Yeah, hold on one second. Sorry about this. I know y'all are also running a little behind.
That's okay.
Let's see. I don't know why when I open my share tray, it's not letting me share. Have you, do either of y'all who are running the technical side of it happen to have the slides?
Not your slide. Did you forward it to us? No, I don't think we
I
got
appreciate
that.
everyone's patience. Again, I really apologize. If everyone just take a couple minutes, take a breath. Let me see if I can figure this out, okay?
So while Stacy's trying to figure it out, can we all say happy birthday to Cordell Reimer, who is celebrating his birthday today and working, I might say, Happy birthday, Cordell.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday,
Cordell.
Cordell.
Birthday,
Birthday,
Mr.
Mr.
Ryan.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I am going to put myself on mute for just 1 second, okay? Because I may have to try to open it on the other computer. Again, I really apologize, guys. Thank you for your patience.
Cordell, did you
Yeah,
ask
Bob.
the director for the day off? Did she
Yeah, Bob,
deny your timeout or something?
He did
Full
not ask
disclosure,
at all.
full disclosure, I'm working today. I can't guarantee
Sitting
tomorrow.
there going, what kind of thing is going on around here?
Why he threw that question out there?
I
This
was
is
like,
hassle because he wanted the
why
day
he
off for
threw
his
that one out
birthday.
He's
Happy
working today.
birthday.
Yes, I am. Thanks, everyone. Can't guarantee tomorrow, though.
I'm
All right, Stacy, you're back on?
yeah, sorry, I
All
was
right.
trying to rejoin from my other computer to see if it'll work. I don't know.
Actually, give me just about 30 seconds. I need to make you a presenter.
Got it. I think we're in business.
Did you logged in from a different device? Okay.
Yeah, I
From the
did.
first time. Okay.
Not
So
sure
your
what-
presenter status is still there. Okay.
Yep, I got it. I think we're good to go. Thank you guys so much for being patient. All right, can everyone see and hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. All right, so this is perfect. Just as we were just talking about mental health and, remember Dr. Syms was talking about the little hiccups in life? This is one of them. And this is one of the results of dealing with being in a pandemic as well, because we've all had to move to this virtual world and everything does not always work the way we want it to work all the time, which can really cause a lot of stress and anxiety for a lot of people. And so today we're going to talk about your EAP program. And like I said, it's such a perfect, I think, segue from Dr. Syms as we were talking about mental health, because this is a program that you really have access to that can help you during these times. So today I want to make sure that everyone knows about your EAP program, knows how to access it, and that you understand how it can help and assist you. So what is an EAP? Now, a lot of people, they don't even realize that they have this available for them. But the EAP is a paid benefit. It's paid for by your employer to assist employees and their household members in obtaining help for a wide variety of issues. So as we talk today, I know you've been talking a lot about disaster preparedness, and we've talked a lot about COVID. Your EAP is absolutely a place where you can go to get support to deal with issues that come up around this. Now, I know there's lots of different people who are on this call today. So just a note is that retirees over 65 and COBRA participants are not eligible for the EAP. So I guess if you're one of those, I'm not really speaking to you right now, but feel free, to stay on with us if you would like. So what is the EAP? Let's talk about what it can do for you. We're going to take this little quiz. Your EAP benefit is free. That is true. There is no cost to any of the EAP services for you. It is a benefit that is paid for by your employer. So it is completely free for you. You can receive a free 30-minute consultation with a lawyer. That's also true. This is something that people often aren't aware of. If you have a legal issue that's come up and you're not sure where to go with it, you're not sure if you even need a lawyer, you can call your EAP for a free 30-minute consultation with a lawyer to kind of come up with a plan about how to move forward. And it's 30 minutes per issue. So if you have, if you have an issue with, say, around sometimes people may call about like a speeding ticket or, a car accident, they have a question, they can get a consultation. And then maybe you have another question later on. Maybe it's about a criminal case. You can also call about that. Hope we don't have to deal with that, but if you do, you see that it's per issue. And the EAP can advise you about home refinancing. That's also true. You get a free 30-minute consultation with a financial specialist that can answer questions about a wide range of issues, one of them being refinancing your home. So you can start to see that your EAP really covers a lot of areas of your life. That's kind of the purpose of it. It's to be able to have that, balance between work and home. We realize that people bring their personal life into the office and you bring your work life home with you. And so the EAP is a support for you to be able to balance all of that. So what are the benefits for your EAP? You have 5 face-to-face or virtual sessions per issue. So that means if you've got something going on and you need to talk with someone, you call your EAP and they can connect you with a licensed counselor, and you have 5 free sessions for that issue. Now, let's say, for instance, you're talking with them about maybe you're having issues with your kid, with parenting. And so you have your 5 free sessions with that. And then through the course of that, you realize, well, I'm having some other issues with my marriage or with my partner that I would like to continue to discuss in therapy. You can ask for an additional 5 sessions to cover that issue. So it's 5 face-to-face sessions per issue, not per year. So that's really great. It is completely confidential. So your employer is not going to know if you call. They don't call and say, hey, Stacy called the EAP and is in counseling now. It doesn't happen that way. It's completely confidential. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So that's really important because we know that crises don't just happen between the hours of 9 and 5. So you can call anytime, day or night, to talk with somebody. And it is a household benefit. Again, this is something a lot of people aren't aware of. This benefit is available for anybody living in your household. So it's available for your kids, for your husband, your wife, your partner, if your cousin is living with you, if your mom lives with you, anyone who is living in your home can access these services for free. I want you to see on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a phone number, 1-888-371-1125. I'd like for everyone to please write that number down because that's the number that you would call in order to set up the sessions, or if you need to schedule a legal consultation or financial consultation, that's the number you call. You can also log into mycigna.com and you need to set up an account. They're going to ask you for your employer ID, and you see where it says here USVI government. That's your employer ID, and you only need that for the first time, like to get registered. And once you get registered, you're not going to need to put that in again. But I'm really going to encourage everyone today, as soon as we're done, to go onto the website, go ahead and get registered, because if you get registered, then when you need the services, they're right there in front of you. You don't have to take that time to figure out how to register or try to remember what the employer ID was and all of that. So I'm going to encourage everyone today to, as soon as we're done, to sign right on and get that and get registered. So again, we're going to talk just a little more detail about the individual services. You have access to those 5 face-to-face or virtual sessions. Because of COVID, they may be virtual right now, kind of depends. And you will be able to find a licensed clinician in your community. So you can, when you call, they will either give you the names of people in your community that may work for you, or you're able to go online once you've registered, and you can kind of look through who the providers are, and you can pick someone. So for instance, if maybe you want to talk, you feel more comfortable talking to a female or to a male, or someone who specializes in depression, or someone who specializes in parenting issues. You can kind of see all of that online to pick who you want to talk to. And then again, just to remember that it's completely confidential and free. The other good benefit is that you can use this for crisis intervention and support. So if you or someone in your household is in a crisis and you don't know where to start, you don't know who to call, and you need help, call the number. The phone lines are open 24 hours a day, and they can help you come up with a plan for how to move forward. So the phone consultations are usually about 20 to 30 minutes. Again, you're talking with a licensed clinician. You have an unlimited number of consultations, so you can call them as many times, a year that you would like. So the good thing about the consultation is I always say, if you've got something going on in your life or someone in your household does, and you don't really know where to start, it can be very overwhelming to kind of even figure out where to start. Call them, and you can talk with the clinician who will help you come up with a plan. You can explore what kind of treatment options there are, identify community resources, and then come up with a plan to move forward. And then there's other resources that are available. These are called work-life resources. And they are things meant to help you kind of balance that work-life balance we've got going on. So for instance, things like childcare and elder care. Say you're caring for an older parent. If you call them and you need to find, emergency childcare, or you need care for an elderly relative or parent that you're caring for, they will find resources in your community. They will find 3 resources. They will call them. They will make sure that they're still open, that they're still taking referrals, and then they will provide you with that information. So it's a place where you can get, someone can help you out. And we know that things have been so stressful for everyone since the pandemic. Having that extra support in place can really be helpful, especially if there's a crisis or any kind of natural disaster going on. It's someone who you can call to kind of come up with a plan. And you can see from this list, there's all kinds of things they can help you with. That I talked about the legal and the financial services. They have a whole division that works with identity theft. We spend so much of our time online now. Unfortunately, this has become an issue more and more so. So if this ever happens to you, or if it's ever happened to anyone that you know like how stressful it can be, and like you kind of don't even know where to start. Well, you have a free 60-minute consultation with an identity theft specialist, and they can tell you exactly what you need to do to get things back in order, who you need to contact, and all of that. So that's an unfortunate resource that we need, but it's there for you, which is really great. So how do you access all of these services, like looking for childcare or getting set up with a consultation with a lawyer? One, you can call the number. That's always an option. Like I said, that's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can always call them, or you can go to mycigna.com. And once you get your registration complete for that first time, then you're able to access all of this online. You can see here, you click on coverage and then the employee assistance program. And then under work life resources, you're going to see all of this information laid out for you. You can also, while you're on there, request a callback from a specialist if you'd like someone to call you back. You can see the counselors in your area. So there's just a lot of resources available to you. And that's why I really encourage everyone to go ahead and get that account set up today. So again, these are some other things you can do once you get that account set up. You can schedule your phone calls. So say you're working, you're really busy, and you're like, I really want to try to set up a meeting with the EAP, but I'm busy. I don't have time to do it now. You can quickly go online, schedule your phone call for someone to call you maybe at 9:30 tonight. after you know that, if you got kids, your kids are in bed, you have your quiet time, they can call you back and you can really talk to them. So you can get that schedule that you can do a live chat. Sometimes you can get your questions answered very quickly through a live chat. So that's also an option. And there's lots of just wellness seminars on there, lots of just information about managing stress, about, getting better sleep, doing self-care, as Dr. Syms talked about, all those kinds of things. So there's just lots of good information that you can kind of click around on and access at any time. And then there's also just Cigna.com's website, which is the public website that anybody can access. And you don't have to like register or log in or anything. You can just go to their website. And they have a lot of resources around managing health and well-being. And, as Dr. Syms was talking about, we know that health and well-being includes mental health and mental well-being. So there's lots of like articles about that, articles about different mental health issues. There's articles about health and general physical health and well-being, and it's available to anyone, not just the employees. This is just available to anyone who would like to go there because you don't have to register. But lots of topics on maybe healthy eating or to help improve sleep, help with stress. Maybe if you have a kid with who's dealing with attention deficit disorder, articles about those kinds of things as well. So in summary, the thing I want everyone to remember today is that the EAP is there for you. It is a resource that is available for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's completely confidential and there's no cost to you. So, the hope is that, like I said earlier, if you've got some kind of issue going on, if there's something that you don't really kind of know where to start or how to manage it, call your EAP and talk with someone. They will help you come up with a plan. And also to remember that it's available for your whole household. I know a lot of kids have really struggled during the pandemic, both academically and socially and emotionally. And you may find that you're trying to figure out how to support your kid through this. You can call the EAP and get some help for them as well. So you can see that it's really covers just such a broad range of issues, any really kind of life issues, just being human, and they can hopefully help you, on a path to get the help that you need. So I just want to see if anyone has. I know I kind of talked about a lot of things kind of quickly there. But I just wanted to see if anyone has any specific questions about your EAP program or how to access it. Okay, well, I really, really encourage everyone today to go to mycigna.com, get yourself registered.
Hi, Stacy. We do have a question from Denise Parker.
Okay.
Well, it's not a question, and I think they were referring to Dr. Syms. Lorraine Morton, she indicated, thank you for a great presentation, and just letting us know kudos to the team for putting on the webinar and the presenters. Also, Miss Kimberly Junkins, she's saying it is often recommended to do morning exercise routines, but she seems to have no luck with it. Is the exercise still just as beneficial in the evening? I don't know who she's referring the question to.
I can actually attest to that. I am not a morning person. I admire anybody that can get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go running or go to the gym. For me, when I do any type of physical activity, my preference is always after the end of the work day. That way, that's my outlet for me to release the day's stress, and I find it to be just as beneficial.
Yeah, I'll just say one thing real quick about that is that you have to find what works for you. That's really what's most important. If getting up in the morning and trying to exercise is causing you more stress, and more anxiety, that's not the purpose of it, right? The purpose is to make you feel better. So you've got to find like what works for you. And so yes, it is beneficial whenever you do it. But it's really about finding what works personally for you as an individual.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have any other questions. Stacy, thank you so much. You know, the Division of Personnel, we're always advocating for the EAP, especially now more than ever. And we just ask that everyone utilize this very critical resource. It is an available benefit to you and to members of your household. Now, I'd like to thank once again all of the presenters. We are going to have this webinar posted on our website and social media, and we will also have it aired on the Government Access Channel for the remainder of the hurricane season. So now let's have some more fun. And I know this is what everyone has been waiting for. So the Scavenger Hunt contest for disaster preparedness items. All registered participants of today's webinar are allowed to participate. 3 active employees and 3 retirees in both districts will have the opportunity to win the first prize, which is the ultimate emergency preparedness kit. Second prize, a solar-powered 2-in-1 lantern and portable device charger. And the third prize, a 300-piece first aid kit. So the scavenger hunt will be today. It begins at 6 p.m. and ends at 6:30 p.m. So that means you have 30 minutes to complete the contest. As far as the rules are concerned, participants must gather disaster preparedness items within their household, again, within their household, based on the checklist provided. You'll take a picture of your stockpile and list the contents of the pile in an email in which you will send to me. I'm going to drop my email address in the chat, or Mr. Knight, if you can please assist, you can put my email in the chat. It is ladyshana.martin@dop.vi.gov. Now, this part of the contest, your submission is included in the 30 minutes. So in other words, your picture and your corresponding list should have a timestamp on the email when I get it of 6:30. We're going to release the checklist at 5:45 p.m. to the email address that was provided upon your registration of the webinar. So if you did not go through the registration process and providing your email address, you would not be eligible to participate. Does anybody have any questions?
Ms. Martin, can you share with them who is donating the first prize, the ultimate prize, and what is the ultimate prize, please?
So of course, so the ultimate prize, it's basically going to be a truckload of disaster preparedness items that's actually going to be given from VITEMA. So from what they have explained, some of the items will be things like sandbags, tarps, water, some of those items that, you know, are pretty hard to get when the time comes for us to start preparing. So, you know, I am excited about that, and a little that I can't participate.
No, you cannot.
I know, but nonetheless, yeah, this is going to be, again, it's a truckload. So this is not a kit, this is a truckload. Does anybody have any questions?
Ms. Martin, I have a question that's not written in the chat. What if someone registered via their work email and their home? How do they get that if they want to participate via their regular email?
That's a good question. Can you take the person's personal email address? Can they put it in the chat? And we'll go ahead and send it to that address.
And Lady Shanna, they should be able to log into office.com/vi.gov if they want to utilize that email. Well, depending on what their work email is.
Okay.
They can log in remotely as well.
Could I put that in the chat? Could you put it in the chat so people can see what it is? Because
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, cool.
thank you.
Thank you, Cordell. Any other questions?
No, I don't have a question.
Okay, so I would like to thank everyone for joining us today and for your unwavering support to the GVI Wellness Program. Don't forget the surveys. There's the Cigna survey, and then there's also the post-webinar survey. And we just look forward to seeing you in more of our initiatives. Remember to stay safe, sanitized, and healthy, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Enjoy your day, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you, Ms.
everyone.
Thank you so much. Great presentation.
Thank you.